Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Darren Smith along with Steve Walls, and we'd like to welcome you to the pregame cheat sheet. We are live inside of the Arrowhead Stadium press box. Steve, we got two teams today that are in desperate need of a win. Both teams come in at 1-2 as the Kansas City Chiefs host the Baltimore Ravens. Your first initial thoughts on today's match before we get into it?
I don't know why it feels like it's a playoff game, man. Like it to me is just kind of weird the fact that it's warm outside, very warm, and it just feels like a playoff atmosphere. I mean, you have a lot of former players that are here. It's going to be one of those games. It's going to be like, all right, it's going down all the way down to the wire.
Of course, the Chiefs are coming into today's games, late afternoon game. It's on CBS late afternoon game of the week. It's interesting, kind of like the Eagles game. You have the Fox crew here. Today you have the CBS crew
Right.
that did their pregame show and halftime stuff from out in the parking lot. But Chiefs come in from a 22-6 win over the New York Giants on Sunday Night Football. Of course, the Ravens are coming off of a Monday night loss to the Detroit Lions. So obviously, again, both teams coming in at 1-2.
Which is very crazy. And I was going meaning to ask you, like, we see like everyone that's outside of Kansas City, and some folks in Kansas City are like, oh, this team is 0-2. They need to get a win. They need to get a win. But then on the flip side, you have Baltimore that's coming in, and they got the same record.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to be like this high offensive team, and you come in and have the same record as a team that's like people are scratching their heads.
They put up a lot of points the last couple, actually all three games. They put up a lot of points, but somehow found a way to lose the game. Two of those three games are you can point directly to the fumble from Derrick Henry late in the ballgame in the fourth quarter against the Buffalo Bills and of course the Detroit Lions respectively. And so, there are keys that have been shown on how to beat this team. Now, the person that I thought about the most last week when those two teams was playing would be Steve Spagnuolo, because we're going to face both of these teams. So hopefully he took a lot of notes in both directions on the teams that we're going to be playing. Because I know we play the Lions, I believe, in 2 weeks, right back here
After Jacksonville.
after Jacksonville. So looking at that game, coming off that game, one of the things that was shocking to me in that loss was the fact that they did not Lamar Jackson. He didn't run the ball that much, which was again I don't know if it's a thing where he and Patrick and I don't know, maybe because of the 2 weeks that he led the team in rushing. I don't know if some of these black quarterbacks are trying to, and Patrick doesn't do it as often as Lamar, but I'm wondering if they're so much trying to get away from being looked at as a running quarterback that they end up playing outside of themselves and trying to pass football where it ends up hurting them. Because for Lamar, he was sacked 7 times in the last week's game, where had he just ran the football a few of those times, I mean, the game might have been played and might have came out a little bit different.
I think it works twofold. I think one, if you look at Lamar Jackson, prior to Derrick Henry, you could say that. Like you could say, all right, well, Lamar is, and I'm just going off of the games that they played, the Chiefs in those playoff games where first half you run the ball down the Chiefs' throat, and then second half it's like, all right, I got to come out and show that I got an arm. But you look at now Derrick Henry, I think a lot of times he takes the back seat, and I'm only looking at Lamar for the sample size. He takes the back seat to Derrick Henry, maybe. And that way it's like, all right, well, I don't have to put as much wear and tear on my body if Derrick Henry back there. Why not? I'm just handing it off to him. But a lot of that can be looked at as coaching too. John Harbaugh it's like, okay, well, if you see your team and just looking back again at the playoff games against this Chiefs team, you were successful at running the ball. I mean, you had positive yardage. And the Chiefs really didn't have an answer for it when you had Lamar running the ball. And so why don't you still call those same plays? Why do you take your quarterback and say, all right, I'm going to call all these passing plays and not have you run the ball?
And it's interesting when we look at today's matchup, that would be an X factor if we were to do one for the Ravens, would be coaching, because they always seem to coach differently when they're playing the Chiefs again.
Everybody does.
I mean, and I think back to the AFC Championship game that they had in Baltimore. You and I were sitting next to each other in the press box, and the thing that took us by surprise was literally after the opening drive, they stopped running the football. I think their running back was J.K. Dobbins at the time,
Yeah, with
and literally I had him for 25 yards. He ran. I think he had like 20, 15, 20 some yards in that first quarter, and he never actually even opened his drive, and he never touched the ball again.
and it's funny you brought that up because I remember me telling you like if you're gonna have Flowers beat you, if he's gonna beat you, then you're supposed to lose the game.
As a rookie, yes.
I would put everything on it to that say Zay Flowers is not going to be able to beat us. Like I'd allow him go out and just try to beat us because I know for sure he's not going to do it.
Yeah. So coming in today's game, we first want to give few minutes in, we want to give our thoughts and condolences to Chris Jones and his family on the passing of his aunt. Of course, the funeral was yesterday. He is in transit on the flight. I guess he should be landing any moment now. And of course, he'll have a police escort to get here to the stadium, which
Yeah.
somebody on social media actually brought up a good point. Hopefully, it's not taxpayers' dollars that's getting him. And that's what
Even if it is, man, like it's your football team. While that doesn't matter, I would drop my 3 cents on the tax to
well, put like this: when we were in Jacksonville a couple years ago, and we had to get to the airport, we got to the car accident. We actually did have like a police escort to
yeah.
get there. So, shout out to the Popos on this one. Steve, looking at this matchup, I do want to ask you because Chris Jones really won't have a chance to warm. He'll get here, change, and essentially will be out on the field. Do you think that's going to have any adverse effect with him not being able to warm up? I mean, just
Nah,
come
nah.
down or anything?
You're an athlete. I think I mean, it's a routine that you
Okay.
do as a team. Like a lot of it you do your warm ups as you're getting ready, you stretch or whatever. But then everything else is kind of team. So I think other than that routine and he may even be out. He may even be able to get here by the time I mean, you're taking
Well, I mean,
private.
the police escort. I mean, he should get here about 15, 20 minutes from the airport. And I don't know. Well, I guess he's going to take. I guess he's flying an MCI versus the downtown. I don't know if he'd take a private plane or not.
Oh
So,
yeah, you're gonna take it. You're not gonna fly commercial.
I mean, I don't know because if he took a private plane, he could have just flown right out after the funeral.
Yeah, that's what he said. I mean, that's what they said they were gonna.
He flew out today. The funeral was yesterday.
Uh, Private plane. They're not gonna have their star player riding commercial. If I'm Chris Jones, I'm not riding commercial. You headed to Kansas City. You're like, hey, don't y'all got a game today? He's sitting next to you in first class. Come on, man. No, that's not gonna
I
happen.
mean, Chris Jones, he's still a man of the people. But I want to ask you, Steve. One of the big news that Andy Reid talked about on Friday is we will see the return of Xavier Worthy in
Mm.
the lineup today. I don't know if he starts whatever, but Andy said he's still fast, because the injury happened up top versus his leg, so that part is fine. But also, we should expect to see Jalen Royals today as well. Looking at that, how do you think this offense should look after not having them essentially for the last 3 weeks?
I'd like to see how I'd like to see how fluid both guys are because they're coming off of injuries.
Mm.
You still have to take that hit, and I'm guessing if he's out there, he should be fine if he takes a hit. But I just like to see.
We'll find out.
Yeah, I get that's before I could answer that. I just like to see those guys take their first hit and their first action. And I know they've been practicing, but there's nothing like getting those real bullets flying at you. But I don't know how much Patrick is going to trust them.
I don't think he's gonna have a choice because stop thinking about it. They were using that as the excuse for why the offense didn't look too good against no, because remember they kept talking about how he was a big
The first game.
yeah,
Yeah, the first game. Yeah.
and so my thing is okay because you're gonna want to get him reacclimated to the offense.
Yeah.
I mean, because no sense in having him out there if you're not gonna use him.
Right.
And so, but I said it to say that I guess to ask the question is, do you expect them to look differently offensively? Because now, really, with the exception of Rashee Rice, you've got everybody on offense now.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, with Worthy coming back,
At least everybody who you knew you were going to have in training camp.
exactly. So now, and if Worthy can be even 75% of what he would have been,
Yeah.
and we get anything from Royals, what are you expecting from the Chiefs offense? And should we now limit them the amount of excuses?
Yes and no. Yes to limiting them from the amount of excuses. Because like you said, you've got everybody, but I think he's still gonna be somewhat limited. Like you don't want to have to put all your eggs in the Xavier Worthy basket.
But Worthy, if he's out, at least gives you gives you the threat. So
Yeah. They
that
have a
should
game plan for him.
open up the run game
Yeah.
because that's
I don't
what
even
they
think
really need.
I don't even think it's opening up the run game. as much because those guys haven't been 100, right? Like you see Isaiah Pacheco running the wrong way.
No, no,
You
no, no,
see,
no, no. But I said it to say
takes
because
the pressure.
yeah, because
Okay.
again, if with Worthing have been out there to stretch the field, they've been able to crowd the box up a little bit more. But now, if he's out there, at least a threat. Look, I think it's going to take Patrick one time to either throw it down there where he's separating from his defender, or he catches a deep pass. Now you really got to respect it.
But they've had that. You had Taekwon out there, even though he's gotten a one-on-one, but now I think it's going to open up the downfield throw a little bit more too.
That's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is Worthy speed and Taekwondo speed; those are two different speeds.
They both run a 4.2.
Oh.
Taekwon ran a 4.2 as well.
Oh. Then,
Yeah, I
okay.
mean, they're,
Then
he's
I
just
stand
he's just
corrected
taller.
then.
He's just taller.
Oh, hey.
So I mean, they're both running
Oh,
the.
but then let's get it then.
Yeah, that's what
Well,
I'm saying. So
but
like,
again, limit the excuses now.
yeah, I mean, Taekwon doesn't. He doesn't have the, and he's been around the league a long time, and folks I see saying that he doesn't have the route tree and doesn't have this. I'm like, he's not a rookie. He's not a second year player. He's been in the league a while. Like he hasn't been out there, but he's just doing new things that he. And Patrick said this earlier this week. It's like he's doing some different things that he hasn't had been able to do before. He's just not been able to put in the number one wide receiver situation before. Now that he's doing that, he's still kind of learning and adjusting. But I think it's going to take a lot of pressure off him for the Xavier Worthy to be out there.
Got to ask the question. One of the things that I know Chiefs fans have been just all over the hill about these first 3 weeks of the season, of course, the last 2 years, has been the play on the offensive line, essentially with Jawan Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we both speak to Jawan, so we'll leave the personal stuff aside. But professionally, we heard from I believe Andy Heck this week about what they say or what his play, and they keep giving the impression that it's up to him and that they've addressed it, but it's still going on year 3 now. And one of the things that Andy has talked about is his run block protection. But simply, I keep telling everybody he's not going to get benched. He's making $20 million. He's not going to get benched.
And Andy told everybody this week, it's like he's still top, ranked top, and minus if you take the penalties out of the equation,
Which
he's
is hard
still
to do
yeah. Because they
drives
affect
killers.
they affect everything. And I think he's still. Well, I know for a fact that Andy talked about it this week that he was talking. He was like, Juwan is still top guard tackle in the league. So if you pull him out, and we can throw the question to people that are watching. If you pull him out, what else you got on the bench? Are you putting in someone that's just as equivalent as talented as he is?
They talked about it throughout the week, and I know it was addressed to I believe Andy Heck and even Andy Reid. You put in Jalen Moore a couple of times in place of Josh Simmons.
Is that to see? Oh, I'm talking. If you move him to the right side, are you putting him in just a couple times to see if he can do it? To save face for fans, like we ain't got nobody else, or what?
Yeah, and is that something that motivates or pushes Jawan to not quote unquote foul up?
You already said the big thing is money. If I can sit on a bench and kick my feet up and still make top dollar, because it's this deal ain't incentive laden.
Nah, it's guaranteed.
Exactly.
That's
So
what it is.
wouldn't you sit back and like, oh, I'll let y'all go out there and do the work, and I'm chilling.
I mean, as a competitor, no, but if you're gonna,
It extends your career.
well,
But if you can't make it here, then
yeah.
you know.
See, the hardest part when it comes to Jawan is that, and I know just from talking to him, like,
Mhm.
he's not trying to hurt the team. I just don't know, even in our conversation with him, what it is that is in his head, and I don't know if it's a mental clock that he's trying to get some. I guess trying to beat somebody, his defender by a half step. But again, sometimes you just got to take that element because if the team is moving and the first sign of a false start and it's come to you and it brings the team back and moves the chains back some, man, I know that's a killer because he's told me that, because I've asked him, like, bruh, kind of like Harrison Bucket, like when you miss this stuff or when you get tagged, do you go back and look at it? I mean, whether you're during the week with the team and the film study, when you at home, like, I'm hurting the team, and how are you addressing it?
Yeah, I mean, some of that stuff is a lot of it is mental. I would think. I mean, because it's the false starts, it's the holding. I mean, if false starts, you go when the ball goes. Like you're not moving before that,
But the problem is that because of where he's lined up at, he can't see the ball.
of course, and that just has to be that's coaching too. So it ain't all on Juwan. It's coaching. If you see your player lining up that way, fix it.
What have I said? Well, but what have I been saying? You either coaching it or you allowing it.
Yeah.
And he's been doing it for 3 years since he's been at
So
now.
it's the
Granted,
latter.
of course, he was doing it when he was in Jacksonville, and they said I think in Jacksonville he was only flagged like 8 times for it through his 4 years there.
Yeah.
Here he's been flagged for either holding or offsides or however not lining up on the line or whatever 40 plus times.
Which is crazy. So like if you're not offsides, then you're getting holding. So which one would you rather take? Would you rather take the offsides or holding?
I'd rather take the holding.
Okay.
I mean, they're both going to kill you.
Yeah.
Well, I'd rather take the offsides because offsides only 5 yards versus 10.
Exactly.
But still, look. I'd rather just not be outside.
You come to the huddle and you saying, hey, it's on one.
Now,
On one.
first of all, you come to the huddle. First thing you got to do, you got to
It's
look at
on
Pat. You got
one.
to look at Pat. Everybody think I'm looking at you, you mofo. Like, dude, you got one job
Yeah.
on one
Yeah.
on break. On the side of hut. That's what you
Yeah.
said. So, yeah. So, we'll see how we'll see how everything goes. Steve, so let's look at the defense side of football. Spags last week against the Giants, and granted, we got to take it all with a grain of salt. Russell Wilson didn't have his greatest game. Obviously, we saw what he did
Yeah.
against the Dallas defense, which must say more about Dallas' defense than it does Russ. Which means that when Kansas City plays them on Thanksgiving, they
Mhm.
better be cooking. Patrick better have a 450-yard game, otherwise I'm going to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Um, but when you look at this defense, Spags defense, they played outstanding last week. They caused 2 interceptions. Again, they had some 4 down stands. What do you see that they need to do against Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, and this offense today?
First of all, I think they're getting better. Like we saw from week one to now. Even you mentioned last week, I think they're improving. I
Mhm.
think that's what you want to see, especially in the secondary, because with the likes of Justin Reed not being there, and you have some younger guys, and who was it that talked about it this week? A couple of guys were just like, hey, I'm the older guy. Brian Cook, he was like, I'm the older guy in the room now. So if you're looking at Brian Cook as the older guy in the room, it's like you're really young. And so they're improving. But I feel like this kind of reminds me of when Spags took over this defense in 2019. And you remember they started off really slow, and it's like it's a process. We're teaching them new things.
Yeah,
It's taking Spags' defense is that deal, right? Like, so you've got to learn week by week. And I think now they're putting it all together, and I feel like it's slowing down for them. We saw Jalen Watson kind of get after it last week. I believe he led the team in tackles, if I'm not mistaken,
yeah.
last week, and also got an interception. So I think they're improving. Now, what they need to do is going to be down front. It's not going to be on the secondary. It's going to be down front with the likes of Chris Jones and George
And
Karlaftis
Nick Bolton.
and Nick Bolton as well. Because as I went and watched the game that this Baltimore Ravens team last week, you saw a guy that they had shadowing Lamar Jackson. Like when he takes off running, I'm right there and I'm with you. So they had to spy on him. And so I feel like that's what the Chiefs need to do. You cut the head off the snake and stop the run. That's first. And then I'm gonna let if I'm a betting man, I'm letting Lamar Jackson beat me with his arm.
Mm. Now
But
another,
and one more thing
yeah,
too. I feel like because of what happened late in the game, Derrick Henry fumbled last week. They're going to come in with a lot. The Derrick Henry's going to come in with a lot of motivation, right, to show
he
everybody
he
like I'm
coming
still him.
he coming with all the motivation he want, but it's gonna be up to Spags and the players to know. Okay, we punted the ball because again, the way he carries the football,
Yeah.
you can get him at any time. So
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Derrick Henry hasn't been a fumbler, right? Like until lately.
yeah, but what I'm saying is because he's done it in 3 consecutive games, it's in his head now. So I'm saying, but again, just on the defensive side of football, you at least when you go for the tackle or try to wrap him up, or if you just punt at it, because again of how he carries the football.
You,
So if he carries the football in his left dominant hand
yeah.
where he was kind of free, just punch at it. You got a chance.
He just
That's
had
all
it
you.
done. He just had it done. But I feel like this defensive line has to win
Oh,
in the
definitely,
trenches. They
definitely.
definitely have to win in the trenches. And I think
Yeah,
I don't know
Saquon's walk
is
into that
is
door.
is Ronnie Stanley playing? I know he was questionable this week. So if Ronnie Stanley's not playing at left tackle, I feel like this Chiefs team is gonna have a field day. He was questionable, and I feel like he was doubtful for today. So we'll see. Um, I haven't seen an current injury report, but I think this Chiefs team has to win down in the trenches and on this defensive line side.
Biggest question mark for Kansas City outside of their offense has been special teams. Once again, another week,
Harrison Bucker.
Harrison Bucker.
Okay.
We'll try to, I'll try to talk to him post game, depending on how the game plays itself out, and I mean, I delved into it after the Eagles game, like, bro, what's going on? So I don't know if his answer is going to be any different, but what do you think?
What do you say?
Oh, well, I mean, he said he's fine, said he's not injured. He didn't really have a reason as to why he's been missing the kicks or whatever,
Mm.
and more importantly, I mean, he has taken on this and says that he does go back. Obviously, he plays the game in his head mentally, like, will this kick have an adverse effect on the outcome of the game? And of course, the first 2 weeks of the season, it did.
He says that during game.
No. I mean, when I asked him the question, that's no. He can't. He can't look back at it until after the game is
Okay.
done.
Okay. I'm
What I'm
like,
saying?
if you're thinking that during the game, of course it's gonna have an adverse effect in
Yeah,
the next
well,
moment.
no, that's what I'm asking. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, because I was like, bro, like, because I'm trying to figure out, like, why you missed the kicks that you made a 59 kick right before halftime, and you just ran out there and did it, but then you missed
Because
the
he's
extra
not
point.
thinking.
You know what I'm saying? But then you missed, but you missed the extra point that you've done, like, turning on the water faucet or
Yeah,
something.
you can't go. You can't go. Because here's the thing about it. It's like a domino effect.
Yeah,
A thing like that can like you thinking about it have an adverse effect on the rest of the team. Like you hear the crowd cheering, for the touchdown, and you come and miss the kick. It's like
yeah, because
kind of deflates you a little
that's
bit.
what I'm saying. I mean, when you look at it in Brazil,
Hmm.
you rush out there, made the field goal right before halftime. You come out, you score, you make that extra point. Now we got a tie ball game. You don't. Now they got to go for two the next time around. They didn't make it. Now you're still continuing to play catch up, and you end up losing the game. In this game here against the Eagles, you missed the kick, you missed the field goal to at least cut it to 7-3 or
Hmm.
3-0, whatever. I can't remember where it was in the flow of the game, but those 3 points would have helped later on down
Yeah,
the lane.
yeah. I
And
think it
then
would
you
have been
missed the extra
nine
point
three.
as well.
Feel like it would have been 9-3.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
but still, he missed it, and it played an effect
yeah.
during the game. So hopefully, he'll be much better, today on a special team. Let's look at the X factor for the Chiefs, in your opinion, on offense. I know we kind of talked about it on the red hour, but give me your thoughts on your X factor.
And week to week, I always forget what I say. But just currently just thinking about, as the week has played out and seeing that game that this Baltimore Ravens team played last week, it has to be, and we talked about the head of the snake before with Baltimore. I think it has to be Travis Kelce. I think this team today is
So
going to
they
go.
blow up that he and Andy had on the sideline last week. I know they tried to downplay it. We said what we said on the radar. I just didn't think it was. I know Andy takes up for the situation, and I don't think it's a good look for younger players to see that, because you don't want them to think that's okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
as a captain, future Hall of Famer, you just should do it, because again, remember, he did that with Eric Bieniemy on the sideline, trying to show him up before having to make amends before they went to halftime, because we know
yeah.
So I'm just wondering, do we see a bounce back Kelsey in
That's what
today's
I'm
game?
saying. Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. He's the X factor. As being one of the leaders of this team. You're back at home. I just don't see him having the same type of game that he's had before. I think this is just it's gonna be one of those Travis Kelsey type games. I've been saying this all week. People are like, oh, he's old, he's washed. No, I'm telling you, it's just one of them. Sometimes, like we talked about the adverse effects of the game of Harrison Bucker. I think that's kind of been the flow of Travis Kelsey. You've got to be able to keep your mind right and be able to stay into the game, the flow of the game. And I think this will be it.
Now, the last 2 weeks, he's avoided talking to the media
Yeah.
in the locker room. He did speak to the media Friday, but
Oh, did he?
yeah, that was, well, someone said I thought I could have saw some quotes from Kelsey from Friday. If not, we'll see him. Hopefully, we'll see him in the locker room today. If they win, I'm sure we'll see him or something.
Yeah.
Um, X factor. Well, okay. So my X factor on offense is, to be honest with you, I got to go with the offensive line,
Okay.
because Ravens, their defense. I mean, that's what they know for is
Mm-hmm.
defense, play like a Raven, and so, we saw how the Detroit Lions, kind of manhandled them and was able to run the football. I think it's going to be,
They different when they
and
run. No,
I
they
get it, but no, I'm saying,
different.
but if you Creed Humphrey, if you Trey, what you want to do, you want to try to set the tone on your end,
Yeah.
and what I'm saying, and not get pushed around or whatever. So, for me, I think everything's going to start up front with the Chiefs on the offensive line today against against this front for the Baltimore Ravens. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm going with.
Okay. All right.
X factor for you on defense for the Chiefs.
I'm gonna say defensive line, man, as a whole. I mean, you
Now you
saw.
just got to saying that they needed to not let Zay Flowers be. What you talking about when he was a rookie?
I'm talking about when he was a rookie.
Okay, okay,
Oh yeah,
okay.
that was when he was a rookie. You don't let
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
beat you.
yeah.
Now it's like you got to be able to first of all stop the run from Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. That's I was cut the head off the snake with Derrick Henry
Yeah.
first, but I think it's just the defensive line. We saw last week what this was Lions team did with this Ravens team. I mean, there was 7 sacks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so if you can get half of that. If you can get half of that, I feel like you're fine. But play mistake free football. I mean, we've seen Chris Jones have penalties these past few weeks. You can't. We playing a good team offensively. You've got to be able to hold this team under 30 points. Hold the team
Yeah.
under 30 points.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I think you fare pretty well.
I'm gonna. You know what? The D line is good, and I would even say to an extent, Nick Bolton. But I'm gonna go with the defensive backs again, man, because you know Lamar has not really done a good job of getting his receivers, touches and yardage. Maybe every night. I know he did with Mark Andrews, I think either last week or the week before. He was trying to kind of make up for the game against Buffalo. I like to see them continue. If Lamar's going to beat me, I'm going to make him. Granted, you like to see him try to beat you in the air,
Yeah,
but I think if Spags' corners and safeties hold up, that should give them time. I mean, now it may force Lamar to run, but that should give your defensive line and linebackers an opportunity to get
yeah.
after and keep Lamar, within
Box.
a box, man,
Yeah,
get again. You should better get some sacks on them, just I mean, and trust me, Detroit defense really wasn't all that good.
you gotta get a turnover. I mean, if your
Uh,
defense is better than this Baltimore, if the Chiefs defense is better than this Baltimore Ravens defense, I feel like the Chiefs win.
Steve Walls and Darren Smith here with you. Pregame cheat sheet kickoff is about 20 minutes away. We please join us for the Red Hour tomorrow night, 6:30, 7:30, right here on the social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, along with X and YouTube. Before we get out of here, Steve, your prediction on today's game and your score.
I thought about it a little bit. I know I said Chiefs last week, and I'm gonna stick with the Chiefs
Hmm.
again this week. I feel like
Are you surprised that they're 2.5 point underdogs,
am surprised
especially coming off
The
of
Eagles were favored by
one and a
more.
half?
Or
No, it was 1.5.
okay, okay. Well, yeah. I think that's very surprising. Especially by the way that this Ravens team, and they probably just basing it off how much they've scored. But I feel like if the Chiefs can hold this Ravens team to 30 points or under, they fare pretty well against this Ravens team. But I got the Chiefs. Ooh, ooh, 27-21. 27-21.
I think I had
What's
something
the line?
2.5 over, and I think I had might have been 47.5. So
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
but I I think I know I can't say you winning, but I think it might have been 27-17. But it might be. I can. Well, this game always usually goes down to the wire. I
hmm
think the Chiefs beat them 28 or 27-21 last year
yeah,
to open the game. So I think it's around that area. Chiefs just don't blow nobody else. I can't
right.
really, I can't comfortably say they're going to win by more than a touchdown. But it is going to be key that they limit Lamar and his interactions in the end zone, and
hmm
because again, if people forget, Lamar can throw the football. I'm not gonna lie, he throws one of the prettiest passes that I've
Yeah,
seen.
yeah.
Because
But I
it's unorthodox, but I mean, but when he slings it, it's like shakes. You better get to it. So
yeah, but I'd much rather. It's kind of like Jalen Hurts. You would make Jalen Hurts throw. instead of keeping it on the ground. I'm
Yeah,
just, you know.
yeah.
All right.
When I was, on football too. But that being the case, we both got Kansas City winning.
Mm-hmm. People
Post game.
probably wondering, like, do y'all ever? Yeah, we picked.
Oh, I'll put it like this: when they play Detroit a couple of weeks, I can't get if they put any points in. Hey, if they have a hard time stopping this today, 2 weeks is gonna be rough.
Yeah.
Okay, you can follow Steve at Steve Walls KC. Follow me at Darren Smith NFL. Again, this is the pregame cheat sheet. We'll be back post game. We'll have our initial post game thoughts after the game. You can also follow along post game where we'll bring you Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and the post game press conference. Steve and I will be in the locker room interviewing players and stuff, and we'll talk about that as well. Steve, before we get out of here, we'll thank our sponsors.
Yeah, I want to thank my friends over at Dillard's on the Roaster. Make sure you can go talk to Herman over in the men's department and get you taken care of. Shout out to my daughter Amaya. She styled me today with the blue. So shout out to her, and also shout out to my friends over at Rice on Nissan. Make sure you check them out just south of the airport.
So you got a little purple in his jacket. I ain't gonna.
It's blue. It's blue. It's blue.
Okay, just making sure.
That's the royal blue, man.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Of course, I want to thank Todd White, Todd's Closures and Taylor Suits, along with Gates Barbecue, always making sure that we are right for game day. Again, next week, Steve and I will be in Jacksonville for the Monday night game, so we'll come on doing this around 6:30 next
Tuesday.
Monday. No, the game is Monday.
No, it's Tuesday. We do the red hour.
No. I'm saying we're going to be doing the pregame cheat sheet.
Yeah.
We're doing the pregame cheat sheet from Jacksonville at 6:30 next week, the local time here. But that'll do it for us. We want to thank everyone. Make sure, again, if you go by Gates, you got 5 locations. You still got time before kickoff. And if you're in line watching us, make sure you try the Bernie fries. You got burn-ins on the fries. It is delicious with the little sauce stuff on there. Fire at all 5 locations. So for Steve Walls, I am Darren Smith. We want to make sure that you join us tomorrow night for the Red Hour, 6:30, 7:30. Myself, Steve Walls, DJ Q, and Sean Tyler. We'll see you post game. This is the pregame cheat sheet, and we'll be back next week from Jacksonville, Florida. Thank you so much for joining us.